Hello, welcome back to the interface. My name's Alex and today we're looking at the MG5. Now this is one of the only full electric estate cars on the market in the UK today. There is another one from NIO, one of the other Chinese manufacturers. We'll put an image on screen of that. This is actually on sale and has been in the previous model as well. So this is the Trophy long range and it also comes in a lower spec SE long range for a little bit less money. So the SE long range starts from £30,995. The Trophy long range starts from £33,495 and this model as tested with the optional paint colour is £34,040. So this colour you see here is Cosmic Silver and that is £545. There are some other colours available, you'll see some of those on screen just now, and the only one that isn't £545 is called Dynamic Red and that's £695, so that's a bit more money for that one. So this is sort of a medium-sized estate car and this is essentially a facelift version of sort of a spec bump of the old MG5. So if you remember the old MG5, it looked quite plain in the design and this looks a lot more stylish, it looks a lot more handsome really. And that old car is what's sitting underneath this car here. So they haven't changed a load of stuff. So the old car used to have a 52.2 kilowatt hour battery pack. So that battery is 61.1 kilowatt hours and there's 57.4 of that is usable battery space. There's a little bit of leeway left over. And that gives you enough for 313 miles on the city WLTP. The combined WLTP is 235 miles on the Trophy model. If you go for the SE trim, you do get 250 miles, and that is mainly to do with the 17-inch alloy wheels you get in this car. Charging speeds, you get 10 hours on 7 kilowatt, so that's sort of a Type 2 connector at home, wall box. So on a public charger using CCS2, it'll do 87 kilowatts, 10 to 80% in 35 minutes. You can plug this into any speed charger really, so 100 kilowatt or more, and the car and the charger will do its sort of handshake to work out what speed it does. And then if you're really stuck, you can do 3-pin at 18 hours. So around the front, we've got these sort of nice sculpted headlights here, got the large MG badge there, and then the charging flap is underneath there. So if you push that in just there, you'll see that there's a bung here for DC and AC. And then compared to the old car, this is a lot more angular, looks a lot more stylish in my opinion, and should be a little bit more aerodynamic as well. And we've got some vents down here, so these don't open and close like the MG4, they're just open to the radiator grille down there, and then the daytime running lights all integrated into these lights here. So all the MG5 trim levels get automatic LED headlights as standard and LED daytime running lights as well. But what do you think about the design of the MG5? Do you like it compared to the old car? Do you like the new one much better? Let us know down in the comments and we'll be interested to see what you think. So just looking at the side of the MG5, we've got a very nice simple design here, got a lovely sort of broad shoulder here on the car, and we've got some nice chrome door handles here. Some plastic in the middle here to break up the design of the car. And then we haven't got a black roof or anything here, but we've got some nice roof rails there. Body coloured door mirrors on this particular car as well. And just looking at the tyres here, we get 17-inch alloy wheels on the Trophy model with tyres of 215/50 R17. And then we do get aero covers on the SE long range, and they are 16 inches. And we get 205/60 R16 on those wheels. And those aero covers do give you a bit more range, as I mentioned. So on the lower spec model, 250 miles, and on this model, 235 miles. So what's the MG5 like to drive? Well, this week I've spent about 6.5 hours driving the car, and that's a total of 170 miles, and just for reference, about 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour, so that efficiency isn't too bad. We'll just look at the steering first. So this steering wheel's, it's leather wrapped, it feels a little bit cheap, I've got to be honest. The MG4 steering wheel looked weird, but it was more luxury, well, it was better quality feeling, I've got to say, but there has been at least one fault with the steering. So sometimes when you restart the car it goes away, but there's a power steering pump noise. So I'll insert a clip now of what that sounds like, but whenever you turn right, the power steering seems to make a weird grinding noise. That could be a matter of a few things. That could be sort of the fluid low or about loose. I'm not entirely sure what that could be, but it tends to happen now and again. For the steering, we've got 3 different modes for driving. We've got Eco, Comfort and Sport, and you can select those using this little selector here. Really, I haven't noticed much performance difference in either of those driving modes. It's just that the steering gets really stiff. So if we, let's go past this roundabout first. So in Comfort, the steering's quite light really. In Eco mode, the steering's really light and you notice a little bit less throttle response. So I was, whatever position the throttle was in just there, it went slower basically. Comfort mode, you get a little bit more power unlocked, so 15% power. Eco, it knocks it down to 9%. And then in Sport mode, you get this bit more power from the same amount of throttle position. And then in Sport mode, the steering's really firm now. A lot more feel through the steering wheel. And then there you go, that's that weird power steering noise is back. So I'll put it back in Comfort. We do get more range. So in the moment in Eco mode, I have 106 miles of range. In comfort, I have 101, and then in sport, I have 96. So there's a little bit of guesswork going on with how much range you'll get out of each mode, but that's the difference really. But overall, handling's good. I mean, I took it around some B roads the other day, and you do feel it's a little bit prone to roll. I think because the suspension's so high, it does feel quite unwieldy at a relatively high speed, like 60 on a B road, which is what you're allowed to do. But yeah, it's not really designed for that sort of thing, is it? If you want that sort of thing, you'll go for the MG4 X Power or something similar like that. This is more of a, as I mentioned, these get used a lot as taxis and a lot as family cars, so it's not really a problem really. The MG5 is front wheel drive only. The MG4 comes in either all-wheel drive, rear wheel drive as well. Whereas you do feel a little bit of torque steer in the MG5, and you get a little bit of wheel spin as well if you go out of a junction quite briskly. The wheels do light up sometimes, so that's worth bearing in mind. So just looking at the front seats of the MG5, we've got quite a nice space actually. Got this huge floating plinth here. There's lots of cubby space underneath there. That's where you find your USB-A ports down there. So one of them on the left is for the CarPlay and one on the right is for charging. And then we've got the sort of the controls for the car up here. So we've got the electronic handbrake, auto hold button. There's a blanking plate there. We've got the rotary dial for the gears. We've got reverse, neutral drive, and then you push it into park. And there's a physical button for the KERS system. So that's just the regenerative braking system. So you knock it up to, well, give you more. And there's 3 stages of the KERS system there. And we've got the driving mode selector there. So we've got comfort, eco, and sport. And then up here you find the standard MG infotainment screen. This one's a 10.25 inch touchscreen, and you get things like wide Apple CarPlay, wide Android Auto. There's a DAB radio. You've got all your climate control systems are in here, and there's some shortcut buttons here. Got some nice blue accenting on the air vents here, and then it comes all the way here on the dash as well, and over on this air vent here. For the driver, you've got like a pill-shaped screen here. So this is a 7-inch display, and on the left-hand side you get your speed, on the right-hand side you get your power state of charge, or amount of power you're using at the time. So if you're regenning, it'll go to minus figures as well. There's a lot of information in there. For a full in-depth video on the MG5 infotainment system, there's a video linked to the top right-hand corner and in the description down below, and that goes over everything in depth about what you need to know about this infotainment screen on the MG5. For the steering wheel, it's all leather wrapped. There's some physical buttons here, a bit better than the MG4, I think. So you haven't got those sort of buttons that you knock up and down. It's a comfortable steering wheel to use, and if you find this in other MG models like the MG3 and the MG HS vehicles as well. It's only the MG4 that has a unique sort of weird shaped steering wheel. And then on this side here we've got some controls for windows. So on the Trophy model, all of the windows are 1 touch down and 1 touch up. On the SE long range, just the front windows are 1 touch to go up and down. And there's some standard controls here for like folding the mirrors in and some adjustments for the mirrors. Got unlock and lock buttons there, and then there's 1 or 2 buttons down here. So the release for the bonnet there, so the height adjustment for the lights, start top button there, and there's some controls here. So we've got the cruise control settings on this little stalk here. Could set the cruise control there. Automatic wipers on this side, the light controls there. So all in all, it's quite a nice cabin to be in. It's definitely very comfortable. These seats are quite good. They're not leather, they are what's called leather style. The SE long range has fabric seats. And then also for the fabric, we've got nice stitching and fabric all over the dash here, a bit on the doors here. It just lifts the cabin a little bit and makes it look less bland. And they've got some nice chrome as well. It's like plasticky chrome material there, but it sort of brings a little bit of vibrancy to the car, which is always nice. And then got my Electroverse card there. And then we've got some 2 cup holders, relatively deep, it's pretty good. And then there's a central armrest here. That's quite a nice deep space. So if we go in there and have a quick look, a little bit of rubber matting on the floor there, but that's really, really good. Nice place to store the key. Just looking at the glove box, got this very slow opening glove box. Really decent space in there actually. Some manuals and bits and pieces in there, but that's really good. Most glove boxes now don't have much space. That's really, really good. And then up here we've got an automatic dipping mirror. So there's a little button to turn it on and off. So that'll dip if you've got some bright lights behind you. Sun visor with a little light up there, and you can slide across the mirror there and have a quick look in there. So all in all, the front space of the MG5 is pretty nice. Got some nice soft seating, nice soft materials. You feel quite cocooned. It's like a little cockpit. I quite like that. That's pretty good. So all in all, pretty nice interior. And then in terms of the comfort and ride quality, I mean, it's not bad. It is based on the old MG5 really underneath. So there are some older bits of the chassis under there, I'd imagine. You do get a bit of sort of up and down, sort of wallowy ride now and again, I think because the suspension's so high and then the car's quite heavy as well. But it isn't too bad at all, really. But in terms of acceleration, it's really good actually. I put the exact figures on screen of what this could do from 0 to 60, but it's not It's no slouch at all. It's no MG4 X Power, but it's really good for what it is. So definitely won't be disappointed with the performance on the MG5. And then some of the road noise. I'm picking up a lot of wind noise from the mirrors here. I mean, you will do in any EV, so anytime you drive an EV, you obviously don't have an engine making a droney noise. So you'll notice more from the car than you would in any other vehicle. A bit of wind noise on the mirrors, but there's not much really. I can't hear the roof bars, so that's not really a problem. But there was a little bit of noise around there. Obviously that power steering noise and making a noise, and then sometimes there are some pumps and things which make a lot of noise in the car. I think again that's just because it's an EV and the whole driving experience is just quiet than it would be in a petrol car. So we'll just look at the regen as well. So the regen's not very aggressive. It's definitely something that's, you're not going to rely on like one pedal driving mode at all, but it serves the purpose. You will have to plan ahead a little bit. I mean, I drove the Honda E a few videos ago and that had a really, really good one pedal driving mode. And then down here you've got the curves button. So by default when you start up the car, it comes with stage 2 on the standard, which isn't a massive issue, and then you just have to knock it up every time. I do wish it came with stage 3 as standard, but it's not really a massive deal breaker really. So just jumping into the back of the MG5, a decent amount of space back here actually. So we've got not a massive amount of room underneath my feet. There's the driver's seat does seem to be quite low down, but I can get my feet underneath there if I need to. There's a good amount of legroom, so this seat is set up for my driving position, and there's a good amount here, as you can see. Headroom's decent enough. I do find you'd have to watch you don't bang your head on the door pillar here. I find that in the passenger seat that is possible. You do bang your head on it sometimes, but it's easy to get around that. So we've got this nice flat floor here, being a full EV. This is obviously a bespoke EV platform, so we've got a nice flat floor there. The seats here, as I mentioned, are this sort of leather style material. We've got some fabric inserts on the side here. The fabric from the dash has made its way to the doors here. So we've got this nice fabric material with the blue stitching and blue stitching everywhere here. And that helps break up the massive amount of black plastic on this door there. Got some grab handles all around, some little lights here, and we've got some little coat hooks as well. There's no overhead rear lights at all. Got a central armrest here, which is really, really solid. There's 2 little cup holders in there. This armrest is really, really, really solid, so you could lean on that if you need to and see round if you want to. Let's just jump into the middle seat and see what sort of room we got. So let's pop ourselves over. And yeah, being a flat floor, there's a good amount of space here. If you do feel a little bit higher than usual, gonna have no problem for legroom, being there's a completely flat floor back here. We've also got some ISOFIX connectors back here. So there's ISOFIX connectors for the rear 2 seats here. So just have to push through the connectors back into there. And then for the rear connectivity, we haven't got any air vents back here. We've got 2 USB ports, 1 USB-C and 1 USB-A. And then there's a little tiny storage unit there. And then got some rear mat pockets on either seat. They seem quite good as well. And these seats do fold in a 60-40 split, so we can get a lot more load in the back of the car. We'll have a look at the boot just now. So just looking at the back of the MG5, usual estate car stuff. It's got a rear wipe on the back here. Something the MG4 does not have. Got a rear light at the top there, little tiny lip spoiler. Got sort of chrome little plate here, and then we've got a little plastic thing just underneath the number plate. I'm not entirely sure what that's for. And then we've got a little reversing camera in there, which you can see from the interior. And then just going to get under there and click the button, and then it's a manual tailgate. And it reveals our boot space. We've got a little tonneau cover under here, so close that up. And it reveals 578 litres of boot space if you load it up to the roof. So it's a decent amount of space. Got 2 little nettings either side. So in there we've got our adapter for the 3-pin, so 3-pin to Type 2, sort of your emergency charger, the granny charger as it's called. And then under here we've got a Type 2 charging cable for use at wall boxes and other public chargers. And we've got the tyre inflation kit. We've got a hazard warning triangle, a little bit of netting this side as well, and a little boot light under there. So a decent amount of space. So if you want to fold the rear seats down, we've got to go inside and do that, so let's do that now. So open the rear door this side. There's a little handle to pull there, so you can fold that down. Doesn't fold completely flat at all. The headrest does seem to get in the way a little bit, but doesn't fold completely flat. There's another handle there. And that reveals our boot space of 1,367 litres. As you can see, it's not a flat floor in there. You're going to struggle to get any big items in there, and that sort of removes some of its practicality as well. So if you're trying to carry bits of wood or load things through the car, it's just going to ruin the practicality of it. So those rear seats could fold down more flat. Sort of a shame that it doesn't either. And then for the visibility, I mean, it's an estate car, so you've got good visibility. If I'm looking out the rear mirror here, I've got a good amount of visibility. The rear headrest does get in the way a little bit, and I don't think it can go any lower than that, unfortunately. But yeah, these A-pillars are very thin as well. Got some good sized mirrors here. And then around the back, there's a decent amount of visibility. You've got some largest windows at the back there, but overall it's not too bad. And then we've got a 360 camera feature on the Trophy MG5. The SE long range doesn't have that top-down view, but we do get a camera at the front, which is useful when you're parking, and there's a camera at the back. That one at the back can get quite dirty very quickly. It's not going to retract at all to get away from the dirt, so it's got fairly dirty from just some light usage the last few days. So it's you'd have to clean it quite often. But overall, there's parking sensors at the back, and parking this thing is not too bad. It's not too big either, so it's pretty good.
This is what we did and didn't like about the MG5. The interior is modern and spacious with comfy seats, and the boot space is really, really good. The range is good, also at 210 miles, and it's pretty efficient at 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. However, the infotainment screen needs a lot of work. In just 1 week of use, the system crashed twice and had to be restarted by holding the home button down, and the software lags a lot and only supports wired Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto. The front passenger seat has no height adjustment at all, and this can make it quite uncomfortable. In comparison, the driver's seat is electronic. The rear seats don't fold down completely flat, which can make getting things in and out of the car quite tricky, and the 360-degree camera system isn't the best quality, and the rear one gets dirty very, very easily. The MG5 also doesn't work with the Tesla supercharger network. According to Tesla, it's a known issue with MG cars, and it's due to be fixed at some stage.
So in conclusion, what do I think about this MG5? Well, I think it's a little bit expensive for what it is that it's offering. If this was a petrol car, this would be just over £20,000, I think. If you look at the MG HS, that's £17,000 new as a petrol car, and it's just over £30,000 as an electric car. Inside, this definitely feels like a just over £20,000 car. I mean, some of the steering wheels, it feels not the best quality. It feels like it's got some quite cheap leather on it. This fabricy material, while it looks nice, it's very thin as well. Lots of plastic everywhere, which is to be expected. For an electric car, this is quite a good price in the segments it's in. There are some nice points, so they've got this nice metal effect plastic on the side here. But I think in terms of value, the MG4 offers you more for less money. Unless you really wanted an estate car that was electric, I would possibly look at a used MG5. I mean, the previous generation MG5 had a much more dated interior. This is definitely much more of a visual improvement in terms of the changes that MG have made. But for £34,000, I'm not sure I'd be happy to part my money for what you get. But what do you think about this MG5? This is the only, or one of the only, electric estate cars on sale in the UK today. It's definitely a unique offering that MG are doing, and I personally love estate cars, so it's really good to see there's one available. But it's down to what you think. So let us know in the comments down below what you think about this MG5. And as always, thank you for watching. My name's Alex, and we'll see you again next time.